Mark here, and today we're going to look at and compare two doorbells. The first one is the Reolink Doorbell Gen 2 and the Ring Doorbell Plus, also Gen 2. So both of these doorbells do have 2K resolution. The Reolink Doorbell has 20 by 48 and 20 by 48. So it's a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, a square frame, if you may. The Ring Doorbell, it seems like the information is hidden somewhere in somebody's basement. Couldn't really find a lot of information on that. The field of view of these cameras, 1-to-1 ratio, 150 degree by 150 degree square box, and the Ring is 140 degree by 140 degree field of view. So that would suggest it is also a 1-by-1. So we're going to set these things up, and I will pull a file and I'll fill in the gap here as to what the two resolutions are once I have that information. So these doorbell cameras do have Wi-Fi, so they're a Wi-Fi battery camera. The Reolink has a 7,000 milliamp hour battery, and the Ring has a 6,040 milliamp battery. They both have the doorbell connection. So if you have an existing doorbell, you can see the two screws on there. And this one also has the two screws. So the charging of them, the Reolink has a charge point, which is a USB-C in the back here, right beside the memory card, the micro SD memory card. So the Ring Doorbell, you actually have to pull the battery out. There's a tool that pops the battery out, and you slide it out the bottom, and then you plug it in to charge. What I've used the Reolink before, I've got two of these doorbells, and you can hook it up to your existing doorbell. You just have to do a little bit of wiring in your doorbell itself so that it will charge. So it charges on 8 to 24 volts AC using a transformer with 120 volts AC in. So you can pick up these if you don't have them. You can buy them. There's plug-in models, there's wire-in models. But if you have one already with your doorbell and you got those wires sticking out, then you can go ahead and wire both of these up to that. Now, the one thing that I like about the USB on the back is I've actually got one of these on the door into my barn. And what I've done is I've just plugged a USB-C and a little power block on the inside, and it goes through the wall and it just plugs in and keeps it charged. So that's something that I really like. You don't really have that with the Ring. And I don't know if it's actually meant to do it that way because there's no waterproofing. You just have to make sure it's a waterproofed seal and you're not going to get any moisture in there. So getting back to the comparison here, speaking of weatherproofing, the Reolink has an IP rating of 6.5 and the Ring has an IP rating of 5.5. Now the current price at the time of this recording of these two cameras, the Reolink is $161.99 and the Ring is $249. You can purchase an accessory that doesn't come with it unless you buy a certain combo pack, but the chime, I highly recommend using the chime. Standing alone, you're relying on the notifications of your phone, and like my wife, she misplaces her phone regularly, and she may not even know anybody's at the door. So we do have the Reolink, an older gen, and we do have the chime, and it is in our kitchen. Rings like a traditional doorbell. Somebody pushes the bell, you hear the ring, you go to the door. So getting the phone notifications is something a little new to me. I just prefer to be old school and have a chime. So we're going to hook these two up. We're going to set them up. I'm going to put them up together I'm going to pick a door which I'm going to hook them up at, and we're going to run through a bunch of different tests. And of course, one of those tests is figuring out what the resolution of the Ring camera is. We're going to look at that field of view, the 150 by 150, the 140 by 140. Is 140 enough to see a package down low? And how close or far away from the door does it have to be to see it? We're going to do comparisons both for video and audio, both ways. We're going to check and see how they work, and hopefully that will help you decide on which camera you'd like to go with. Now, this video is sponsored by Reolink. They did supply both these cameras for me, but like always, I'm going to give you all the information unedited and let you decide. Further to that, if you have any questions at all, please go down into the comment section. Love to hear from you, and I will answer any question that you may have. Anyway, that's it for the intro and specs. We will go to the installation and find out how these compare. Well, I'm back, and it's been just over a week and a half. I've had a chance to set up both doorbells and put them just at my back door. I mounted them right beside each other. They look a little off-center, but I wanted to make sure the lens was completely on the level with each other. So the setup process went pretty smooth. It was pretty quick for both of them. Pretty standard. You download the app. You go and you scan the QR code and links in, and then charging them. So this was quite interesting. I'm familiar with the Reolink and USB-C, and USB-C has been gaining popularity, trying to standardize these things. It has a faster charging speed, and faster data transfer speed and all that. And when I took the Ring battery out, I was pretty surprised that it was a micro USB. Like, I've got some micro USBs tucked away for some older equipment. But I was just a little bit curious about that. So I got them both set up. They're both at my back door. Everything went pretty smooth. I did notice that Reolink has the app, and then it has the studio on the computer. Whereas Ring, I guess, discontinued their studio app on the computer. It's only on the phone, but you can log into their server through the website. But when I was gathering footage, I noticed that I couldn't download the footage from my PC, which I can from the Reolink. So there's a little bit of that collecting some data, and it was kind of a little annoying because I had to download it on my phone, and then I had to put it into a folder that my computer had permissions to see, and it was just a little goofy on that aspect. But if you're not downloading footage, I guess that's fine. Now, the subscriptions. So, of course, Reolink doesn't require a subscription for their AI recognition, for downloading your footage, for recording your footage. Now, Ring does require that. So I've got a 30-day trial on it. And once 30 days is up, the only thing I can do here is view live, and the Ring doorbell will work just as a doorbell. But if something happens, I won't be able to pull back any footage. So let's talk a little bit about the recording with the wired up. So if you wired these up to your existing doorbell, or you bought a transformer or an adapter, the Reolink will record always on, continuous, and you can set pre-record as well if you're not going continuous. That is a nice feature. You can also hook it up to your Pro Hub that has a up to 16 terabyte hard drive in it, or you can pair it with your NVR. So during the setup process, it asked me, do I want it as a standalone, or do I want to hook it up to my network and have it record directly to the hard drive? In that case, you don't need a micro SD card. This can support up to 512 gigabytes of a micro SD card. The Reolink records up to 30 seconds, and there's no mention of continuous recording. So you get clips and you can adjust the clips in there. So it is limited to that. So just be aware of that when you're purchasing. Anyway, we'll start off with the day footage at my back door, and I'll play the video and audio test for both the Reolink as well as the Ring. Audio video test from 15 feet. Audio video test from 5 feet. Audio video test from 1.5 feet. Audio video test from 15 feet. Audio video test from 5 feet. Audio video test from 1.5 feet. Okay, so now we come to the night footage. Nighttime video at 15 feet. Nighttime video at 5 feet. Nighttime video at 1.5 feet. Nighttime video at 15 feet. Nighttime video at 5 feet. Nighttime video at 1.5 feet. Okay, so now we move into the call experience. Is it called the call answer experience? It's like a phone, but I guess you answer your doorbell nowadays on your phone, which is still a little bit crazy to get my head wrapped around. But when you press your doorbell, if you have your notifications turned on, then you will get a notification on your phone. So here's the footage from both the Reolink and the Ring camera with the experience of answering a call on your phone. All right, what happens on our phone when we press the doorbell? So starting with Reolink. Okay, unlock, and there it is. So we can choose to answer it or not to. Now we do the Ring doorbell. Okay, unlock it. There it is. And jumps right into the conversation. Okay, there it is. So what do you think of those two experiences? Myself, I'd lean towards Reolink. And the reason why is because it came up and it showed me what was there, full screen or large screen, and then it gave me the option to answer it or not to answer it. The Ring camera came up, gave me the notification. When I clicked on it, it automatically answered the call. So I guess this is something you can get used to. It surprised me because I wasn't expecting to just jump into the call. So that was a little interesting on that end. Now the motion notification. Notification speed. Looks like they're both pretty much the same. So somebody's come up and they've pressed the button. So what are they hearing on their end? So what I did is I took my camera and I set it up in front of both doorbells and went into the house away so my audio wasn't echoing in the background. I opened up each individual camera and I spoke, holding the phone roughly about a foot away from my mouth and trying to talk as even as possible. Of course, I can't open both apps up at the same time. So this is the example of the Ring versus the Reolink. Speaking into the phone out of the Ring doorbell. So what I noticed here is the Reolink was slightly less in audio. So it wasn't as loud, especially at distances. It's a little quieter. They are both pretty even at that 1.5 foot range. But what I did notice is the Ring had a little bit of a choppiness going on. I recorded it a few times to try to get an average, if you would, on how they react. But I was always getting just a little bit of a stutter when I was hearing it back from the Ring. So they're both fairly clear. I could understand both of them. The Ring seems to be a little louder, but it does have a little bit of a, I'll call it a stutter. So, notification speed, they were pretty much the same. It was milliseconds. Of course, you can't get two notifications at the same time, so one has to shine through. So I would give that pretty much an equal score for notifications. So let's talk about AI detection, specifically package detection. So what Reolink can do is it can see that somebody walks up to your door and leaves something behind in the form of a package. You will then get a notification that a package has arrived. So I put this clip together of the delivery guy coming and dropping off a package, and you will see in the icon that there is a little package icon that's there. So I will put a QR code for Reolink here. You can scan that. Unless you are actually on your phone watching this video, then you can head down to the description and you can click on the link there. So I hope this video answered some questions that you may have about either one of them. Let me know your thoughts. What would you consider buying, the Reolink or the Ring camera? I hope I helped out in you making your decision in which camera to purchase, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.